Are you looking to join Cycling Men of Leisure for one of our rides in 2025? We've got a few things on our schedule.
That's right. We'll be attending Big Bragg and also the Bourbon Country Burn.
Big Bragg is in Georgia and Bourbon Country Burn's in Kentucky. Both places are going to be absolutely beautiful. We're going to have teams for both of those events. If you're looking to join us on our team, just send us a message. We'll tell you what to do.
So come on out. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's time for Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure, the podcast for cyclists who understand that riding is not just about getting to the destination, but the experience along the way. Now, here are the original Cycling Men of Leisure, Adam and Michael.
Welcome to Road Adventures of Cycling Men of Leisure. As always, I am Adam, and lucky for me, across the airwaves, across digitally, going through fiber and everything, my good friend, Michael Sharp.
Thank you. Lucky for me, Adam's here. So.
Yes, I am. And all of you will be sick of me in the next 45 minutes or
too late.
But yeah, that's all right. I just work here. So, and the pay is, well, listen, it's fun. It's a hobby.
It's not about the pay.
How you been?
I've been okay, man. A lot of stuff going on with the family. Had some issues and things. So that's been a little testing for everybody, but we're getting through it. How about you?
Well, on a serious note, I send my best, and obviously you don't want to air your business all over the world, but I will just say that my thoughts are with you and your family, sir. So
I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Doing okay. I shared on this show that the doctor had her way with me about 3 months ago and just got back from a much better result. So those who saw me in September in Kentucky may see a different Adam pretty soon in a few weeks. So
what you're saying is we're going to see Adam 2.0 more streamlined.
Okay,
yes. That's awesome. I know. All jokes aside, I know you've been working really hard on this, and I just want to say, awesome job. You know, I know you're putting in the time, the energy, and effort, and I'm glad it's working out for you, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, for those who don't know and you're listening, like, what happened to Adam? Went for my annual physical, and if anyone has ever been in the same room with me, it's no surprise that I was a pretty big boy, but in years past, I was a larger man and had phenomenal blood work and everything else, and no really cause for concern. Of course, you always want to be healthier. I mean, It's not healthier to be that size. I mean, I'm not living in a dreamland here, but this time, as a matter of fact, when they tested my blood sugar, for anyone who knows about blood sugar, mine was about 170. Normal range is 70 to 99. And I got the riot act from the doctor, and I'm glad I did. Matter of fact, she scared me, and I'm glad she did. And then she was very impressed when I just saw her. So
awesome.
Down about 50 pounds, and yes, the 2.0. But now I need to keep it. So those who see me in Georgia and in Michigan soon, keep me accountable.
Oh, I will. Now, I myself have already told you I'm going to keep you accountable, but I'm not only going to keep you accountable, I'm also going to help eat healthy, and I'm going to eat right alongside you as supporting, because it doesn't do me any good to be like, Adam, should you be eating that? While I'm digging into a double, cheeseburger or whatever. So I'm right there with you, man.
I appreciate hang tough that. With you.
So,
I think this is an appropriate moment to, as we normally do, bring the show down. Let's bring it back up. Let's tell the salad story. Can we share the salad story?
The salad story. Yeah. Let's tell the salad story. I have no problem with the salad story.
So we were in DeSoto, Wisconsin. We were getting ready to do Bragg 50th anniversary. We all meet up. we're going to have a great day, and we're going to go out to a distillery, and we're going to have some whiskey, and we're going to be with our friends, and then we're going to come back and have a nightcap or whatever, maybe a cigar, if you will, before getting on the bus the next day, trek our way across Iowa. And I'm sure I ordered something like a double cheeseburger.
It was a double cheeseburger.
Yep, and some fries. And our buddy Joe, usually, he likes exotic meat, like caribou and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what he got, but probably something along those lines. And then Michael decided he was going to get a salad.
Because I was trying to eat better.
Well, and listen to this. We gave him 9 kinds of hell for 7 days straight for ordering a salad at a distillery. We were like, you don't order a salad at a distillery. Well, fast forward, and I told my doctor that story, and she said, without skipping a beat, this is the year that you need to order the salad, Adam. I said, oh, okay, well, thank you.
You guys gave me so much garbage. From the moment it came out of my mouth until the moment we parted ways, I think almost every meal there was some comment about, oh, you're going to have salad? Oh, hey, we'll find you a distillery if you want a salad. You guys gave me so much crap about it.
It wasn't just that. We not only did we do that, then every waitress or waiter that we had across Iowa, we're like, can I ask you something? If you were at a distillery, would you order a salad? And some would say, well, yeah, if I wanted a salad, I'd order a salad. And some would be like, no, you don't order a salad. And so it became very humorous. But yes, we beat that to death. But what else are you going to do? You're out riding a bike and 500 miles. And
it's one of those things that it was all in good humor and it was fun. I didn't mind that it was at my expense. And I because now I've been vindicated. And, now your doctor thinks I'm a, wonderful, healthy individual. We'll not tell her any different, but.
Well, listen, I look forward to seeing some of my friends and they'll see a different me. So, and if you watch us on YouTube, you might get a sneak peek. So
there you go. And I do have to apologize. I had lighting issues this afternoon, so that's why my background is like super light. So
I don't know. You got the Cycling Men of Leisure officially engraved bottle lit up with a beautiful light. I love it. So
right there. Yeah.
So. Absolutely, you can't go wrong with that. So I have one of those too.
Do you? There you go.
Easier to grab. So
Cycling Men of Leisure 2022, I believe 2023.
Yeah. 2022, you're right.
Was it 2020? Okay.
Yeah.
That's right, because we got those in when we rode the Bourbon Burn.
Country Burn.
We went to Woodford Reserve, and there they do a great job where you can buy a bottle and they will put whatever you want on that bottle, and they do it very quickly. So we bought the bottle, left it with them, walked across the street to their bar area, had an old-fashioned, walk back, and it was done.
On behalf of Adam
and Michael,
we both want to say thank you
for your support.
So our idea is that we were going to start the podcast, and our first show, was coming out. And we thought, okay, well, we had the plan, everything was moving forward. We thought, well, if everything works out, then we will we'll keep the bottle sealed. And if it doesn't work out, oh well. Just crack the bottle.
Either way, it is a win-win situation.
This is correct. So
one way or the other, we're drinking the contents of that bottle at some point in time.
That's right. I have a small update. So
okay,
I know we're going to do our listener spotlight.
Yes, we are.
Before we do that,
okay.
I was supposed to ride the Dawn Farm ride, and 3 years in a row now, man, the weather was just not good. It was like a monsoon. And so considering getting injured before doing Big Brag, no thanks. But I felt obligated, since we mentioned them on the show, and Ypsilanti is only about 30 something minutes. And so I felt a good excuse to go get a coffee. And I wore the Cycling Men of Leisure jersey.
Very nice. Okay, cool.
And so I represented us there, and I met Anna and did a little interview with her real quick. It's only a couple minutes long. Let me play that now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Hey guys, I'm out here. I was supposed to ride the Dawn Farm Ride for Recovery. I'm here with Anna. Unfortunately, the weather was not conducive today for riding, but I really love the email that you guys put out last night that offers us to do the ride another day in honor, and so that's my plan. I'm going to do the 58-mile Serenity ride. I'm going to pick another day to do it. But Anna, is there anything else you can tell us about Dawn Farm and how the funds go, or anything that you can say?
Yeah, absolutely. So Dawn Farm is a nonprofit in Washtenaw County that provides treatment and recovery support for people with addiction and other substance use disorders. And the proceeds from the Ride for Recovery go to support scholarships, so people who can't afford to come into services with us are able to still access services that can be so life-saving. And so this event, the Ride for Recovery, was started 15 years ago by an alum of the farm who came through the farm many, many decades ago. We've been here around for 50 years. And 15 years ago, she wanted to start an event like this because she's an avid cyclist. And so we didn't really know how to put on an event like this. This isn't our forte exactly. But we started it, and it's been great. We've been going every year for 15 years, and it's an awesome experience, even when the weather isn't ideal. And it's just it's a great way to celebrate recovery and to come together. And
even though the rain boomed on you this morning, you still have a large turnout here.
Yeah, we have a great turnout.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, part of your registration is you get breakfast and lunch, and usually a T-shirt. And many years I've been stuck in the back and had to get pulled out. So it's a wonderful time. So Anna, I really appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time today, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. So that was cool. I mean, even though that it rained, I was able to see a lot of people, a lot of people I know and have ridden with in years past. And the bike shop that I like to support was there, Wheels in Motion. They are a sponsor of the Dawn Farm Ride. I asked the guy from the bike store, Travis, and he said it was like the last 6 or 7 years that they've sponsored the Dawn Farm Ride. So this was the 15th year of the event, but Wheels in Motion, that where I take my bike, was there, so that was cool. And I got to see our friend Jacob was there as well.
Oh, okay,
that we
cool.
did Odram with. So but yes, unfortunately I didn't do the ride. The idea was that you could do another ride and then use hashtags and tag the Dawn Farm Ride for Recovery. So that's my plan. I will still do my 58 miles somewhere somehow, but
kudos to you.
I appreciate that.
That you didn't ride it, but still for the show you went out and got us a snippet. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, listen, you got to get that media. I mean,
that's right.
I told the people from Wheels in Motion, my friends over there, I said, listen, the show is fun. I'm enjoying it. And when I stop enjoying it, that's it. I'm done. So
we cracked that bottle back there. That's how that works.
Right. I don't see that happening. We've reached out to a lot of people. I mean, even on our mailbag that we opened up, we actually heard from Gary, and that was just inspiring. So Gary, once again, you're being mentioned. So, but thank you for your message.
To that point, we have been getting tons of notes, be it instant messages or emails or whatever. And just people supporting what we're doing, very accepting, telling us to, keep doing it and stuff like that. And that has really been very uplifting and very inspiring for us to continue what we're doing. So I just wanted to say thank you to all those people that have provided us all the fantastic feedback and haven't just, want to boo us off the stage and, say move on. So
get your tomatoes ready and start to throw in. So, by the way, did you see? I'm not afraid to tell you our platform we use. We use a company called Buzzsprout. Did you see Buzzsprout's new update of like almost like AOL? You should be really happy about this. That they got a thing like You've Got Mail, and so when someone checks out the show, they can actually send you fan mail right from listening to the show. Yeah,
if they listen to it right from the platform.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so then they can click. And so then, our app that we have, it goes right to our app. And so I sent a test message. And one day I was like, what is this? I thought
technology, something new.
Which we did. Had a couple people write us. So that's kind of cool. So,
all right.
But
that's cool.
But that's it. So why don't we jump right into our normal thing that we've been doing, which people are really enjoying. So
good.
Without further ado, give us some clues for our listener spotlight.
Okay. On our last episode, here are the clues that I provided to you. It is a definite stop for professional cowboys. It is the birthplace of a piece of worldwide fashion apparel that we're all very familiar with. It was named for a Civil War general. What else do we have? I think I told you. Oh, yeah. It's on a major U.S. trail passes by this town. And when I said trail, we did verify that I was talking a westward expansion trail. And the TV show Gilligan's Island can contribute some of its success to this town. Any guesses?
No. No, not even gonna insult you with St. Louis. So.
You're not? Okay. Well, that's good because it's not St. Louis. Our listener spotlight city this episode is Reno, Nevada.
Hey, Adam, I need a Coke.
Sounds good. We'll be back after a quick break.
This is where I almost wish we could play licensed music.
Why is that?
Like a rhinestone cowboy.
Now, let me tell you how you could have came up with Reno. It's a stop for professional cowboys. The Reno Rodeo is one of the country's largest rodeos. It's a birthplace of a piece of worldwide fashion apparel. Believe it or not. Levi's blue jeans.
Really?
A cowboy, came into town and was for the story goes, basically needed something better than what was being sold out there in the market. And it was the rivets.
Ah.
And so he got with Levi Strauss and he patented it and started putting the rivets on it. And that all came out of Reno. What's that?
They don't just come from Costco?
Not back in those days. So it was named for a Civil War general, Jesse L. Reno, who was killed at the Battle of South Mountain, or AKA the Battle of Boonesboro Gap, which is in Maryland. It was during the Civil War, and that resulted in a Union victory in 1862. A major U.S. trail passed through this city. It was the California Trail, which was active between 1841 and 1869. And here's the last one. The TV show Gilligan's Island can contribute some of its success to this town. And how I got that is that Reno, Nevada is the hometown of Don Wells. Marianne is from Reno, Nevada.
I always like those things that says that Marianne had 85 pairs of shoes for us.
Same pair of shorts.
Yeah.
and she could bake anything coconut cream without anything else other than coconuts.
That's right.
But, I was always a Marianne fan. So
that's cool. Well, as usual, I'm going to say thank you, listeners from Reno, Nevada. Reno. Thank you, all listeners. But in this episode, thank you, Reno, Nevada listeners.
Keep on listening.
Yes, don't stop. And you can watch as well on YouTube. So, all right. Well, that has been our listener spotlight from our last episode. Now, as usual, will you be prepared to throw us a new listener spotlight clues?
I have one keyed up and ready to go.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, sir.
I love it. We must have no life. I'm just kidding. So,
well, we produce one of these every 2 weeks, and we got time to, so we'll let the listeners be the judge. So,
you usually say to me, what do we got today? And I think it's my turn. What do we got today, Michael?
Well, we are in season, what I call in season. Cycling season is underway for us. I mean, we're spring, summer, fall type cyclists. And we've gotten a lot of questions. And over the years, we've asked a lot of questions about packing. People are always wondering how we pack. And I mean, when we talk with people, sometimes we're asking, hey, we see you've got this packed. How does that work? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Because
I would say every single year that we've done this, even before we went on, the podcast, we've always added and changed things to our packing. We've changed how we pack. We've changed items that we've packed. Sometimes we've completely got rid of them. Sometimes we've kind of streamlined what we're taking, as far as maybe we found some better piece of gear that works better than this other one. It's lighter, it's smaller, that kind of stuff. So packing is one of those things that I think is ever evolving. So I thought we'd take a little bit of time and talk about packing.
Sure.
Because I mean, let me start off by saying we pack two separate ways. We pack one way if we fly, and we pack another way if we are driving someplace or it's local. But I thought the conversation really needs to start off with what type of bag do you take? I mean, we've seen everything from, remember the guy with the green 1980s Samsonite suitcase?
Yeah.
We've seen, people with the military duffel bags. We've seen people with just, the Walmart off the shelf, large duffel. We've seen people with very high end, Mountain Hardwear, North Face, that kind of stuff. Kind of the whole gambit of stuff that we've seen. And so I wanted to kind of start off there.
Okay.
The bag that you choose, everybody's got their own personal ideas of how they want to set out and organize their bags.
Right.
What I suggest, and I've got a new bag for this year because, I've went around and around with bags. You've been through that right with me.
What's funny is when you said the Walmart roller bag, I'm like, did you make that home? Did you make it home with that last year?
Well, last year we were flying, so I took a roller bag, which is not normally what I take, and the airport kind of crushed the wheel, and it made it very clunky, and it was horrible. And so I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm like, let's go find us somewhere. I think it was Wednesday because we had a vehicle. I said, let's go. I need to go find somewhere. And we zipped around. We went to REI and several places. I couldn't find anything that was a nice large wheel duffel. So I wound up getting something at Walmart. It did make it home. It solved the problem, which was good. So it's one of those things. I'm using this year. I'm using a extra large North Face duffel bag that also has the backpack straps.
Oh, nice.
It is made out of a recyclable, I don't know, it's like a PVC or a TPU type polyurethane type stuff. So it's not waterproof, and that's the difference. It's water resistant because, there's been times when our bags have sit out there and we've gotten a little damp. That's why I don't like the cotton or the sea bags, things like that, because they tend to soak up water. But it's water resistant. I could go and get something that's waterproof, but I don't really, for the cost of going waterproof, to me, that's not really a big advantage. So when you're looking at that, you got to consider the weight. You've got to consider how much waterproof do you want? None, water resistant, waterproof, that type of thing. Weight's a big deal. Do you want something heavy canvas that's going to weigh a lot, or do you want something that's super lightweight? Do you want something with wheels, or do you not? Do you want something with backpack straps? I'm going with backpack straps because I had the wheels before. Sometimes we go over gravel and that type of thing, and it's not conducive sometimes getting our luggage from the truck to wherever we are sleeping. So
yeah.
So what's your feeling on it? I mean, you've kind of had the same setup for a couple of years now, as far as your bag.
So let's talk about, as you mentioned, the flying versus not flying, and then this in my mind right now, because Big Bragg is coming up in Georgia. For those who don't know what Big Bragg is, sorry, but in my mind, I'm thinking about like my packing for flying. So let's talk about flying first. I am a visual kind of person, and I start to think to myself, okay, so traditionally, Michael, I know you know, but to the guest, I usually take the early flight out that I can get out. And in my family, we live about 45 to 55 minutes from the airport, depending on traffic flows. But I always have to be considerate that my parents are, they're very agile, but they're getting older, and then my wife works. And so I usually get a hotel the night before I fly out, so I'm already at the airport. And I have to think about that when I wake up in the morning to take the flight out, it's going to be me and me only. Mm-hmm. And we fly with our bikes. And so we've mentioned before that we even did a show about it. We use a Thule rolling box. This is if you've seen other ones, our friend Chris has that nice Thule bag where you can put the whole bike almost in it. But ours, you pretty much take the tires off, put it in the bottom of the box. The frame pretty much sits down inside. You turn the handlebars, you loosen the whole stem up, and then basically that goes down into a box. And it does have wheels, but it's still a pretty cumbersome rectangle that you're now pulling through the airport. And so when I compile that with my bag of what I'm going to do, I say, okay, well, what am I taking? Well, you and I choose the indoor camping. And if no one's ever done Big Bragg before, there's multiple sleeping options that you can do. This year he's even doing, I say he, but Executive Director Franklin is doing dorms at some of the colleges that we're going to. He's doing indoor camping. You can do primitive camping. Hotels where they have a shuttle that you can pay for to shuttle your bags back and forth. So there's multiple options, but you and I usually say, okay, we're flying. Let's think about what would be the best idea for us. And so we do the indoor camping. That way we set up, and this year I copied off of you, to be honest, but before I was bringing what they call a truck mat, and so one bag would have the truck mat and my pillow and sheets and stuff. And, it worked for a few years, but every morning when I'm putting that away, I'm thinking, man, I'm wasting a whole bag on just my sleeping items. And then last year you did one of those self-inflating mattresses. And I thought it was genius, except for the night that you were under the water fountain. But hey, that worked out.
That worked out in our favor. So
that's right. But so, I mean, going back to the point, I always have to think about, okay, when I get to that airport, and Detroit Airport is beautiful airport. If you've never been to Detroit Airport, it's wonderful. And I have to think about, okay, well, I'm going to get dropped off by the shuttle from the hotel. And when I get dropped off there, I'm going to put my bike on the ground. I'm going to put my baggage on the ground. And how am I going to get all of that up to the gate? Now, I'm pretty lucky. If anyone flies with Delta, I'm currently a platinum member. And so all those things are going to go under the plane. I only have my backpack walking through the airport, but I still got to get them up to get to the gate. And I have to think about that. So when you talk about wheels before, that's where my mindset is. And that's what you're talking about, what I've used before, which is I have a North Face bag. I don't really care about the brand. I just bought it because it had wheels, and it also has backpack straps. If I could have the best of both worlds, is why I purchased that bag. Like you, it's I'll use the word water resistant. It sure isn't waterproof. It does have like almost like a plasticky nylon finish, or I don't want to.
Yeah, it's got like a PVC or a TPU, like a thermoplastic polyurethane coating on it that makes it water resistant. Yeah.
So, I mean, if the bag sat outside and if no one's done one of these kinds of long rides, what happens is normally they ran a U-Haul or Penske truck or whatever, and then all the bags go in the bag truck. And then when they get to the destination of the day, then, the staff will then lay your bags out. And that's why it's a good idea to put all your bags together on the truck, so you're not searching, big bag lines forever. But and so what happens is rain or shine, they usually put the bags out. Now, many charters that we've been through will put tarps over the bags. And last year at Bragg, the day that it rained, they were at that school with that awning. Must be for like the kids waiting for buses, and all the bags were underneath those awnings. So, it was perfect. And they are very considerate when you're on one of those rides, but sometimes
you just never know.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
you just don't know. They could have everything out, and then a rain shower could come through. So thinking about, you don't want all your stuff wet. And a lot of times you have electronics and items to charge your computer, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's one of the bags that I take. I had an Osprey bag, which was almost like honestly, I think it was a cover for like a backpackers, more designed to put around like I think about when we were in Scouts, like, you do backpacking, and I think that's what the Osprey bag was for. But I, of course, said, I know what I can do. I'll put everything in here, and it has a zip tie, I think pull snatch or whatever. And so this year I copied off of you, and that leads to your point, which is we're always ever changing. Like, what can I do better? What can I do better? What can I do better? And because of the podcast, and because that the show's on YouTube, I actually do have a second bag this year. It is very similar to my REI bag, but once again, I put it on wheels. So I didn't put it on wheels; it came with wheels. And to give you an idea, it's the one that you and I saw at REI last year. Okay. I waited for it to go on sale, and then I had member perks, and so I was able to pick it up actually fairly cheap, which was pretty good. It's still not cheap. I mean, jumping into this is not. I mean, there's still a couple $100 but so I picked that up, and then the idea is going through the airport. I use what many call mom hooks. They're big carabiners. Some people call it, they hang them off of strollers or whatever, and have grocery bags. So on Amazon, you can pick up. Amazon's a little company. I mean, I'm not
familiar with it, but it's probably a Michigan thing.
They have a space company. They launch people in space too. But so I found a package of those there, and so I know you know this, but I find that those are great, because then when I'm walking to the truck in the morning, instead of pulling multiple bags, I can clip those two bags together, and then you're only pulling one bag with all your stuff. Because really, once we get into what you're going to have in the bag, it's not that much stuff. I mean, with the podcast, there's a couple other items there that you and I need, but and so you and I have a system that we always talk through and work through how we're going to make it all work out. But I mean, that's my flying outfit now.
I'll say one thing before you go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I try to only take, especially flying, only one bag.
Yeah.
Because I found when you're pulling that big, box across the airport, it's got wheels, but I found that trying to pull that and trying to pull a wheeled bag at the same time, they keep wanting to like crash into each other and stuff. Arm. And so that's why I went with just a straight backpack this year. So we'll see if that does any different. But go ahead and talk about our non-flying setup, because I'll let you start it. Go ahead.
So in 2016, when you and I did Ragbri, I can still remember. I have pictures of the bags that I took, and it just really didn't work out. And then it was really funny because, and then 2018, 19. No, 2020 or 21 on the road again in 2021, because you and I did 21, 22, and 23. And 21 was like, oh my gosh, we're getting out of our house again. This pandemic's over. We're going to go on a bike ride. And it was so humorous because we met in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but I got to tell the real story.
No,
I
go
had
ahead.
booked this hotel room, and in the meantime, I had changed credit cards. It was still an American Express. I just went from the American Express to the next up on Delta. And this lady called me, and she said, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. Baranski, she's like, unless you've got a credit card to hold this room. I'm like, I checked in last night on the app. And she said, well, I need a credit card. So I pulled over into a rest area. I was kind of frustrated. And so I'm like, what is the point of, it's like the old Seinfeld, you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I booked in online. And then she said, well, I just need a credit card to hold the room. So I gave her my credit card, no harm, no foul. It should, don't sweat the small stuff. I know. But it was just really frustrating me. And so when I got there, she's like, do you have a credit card? I'm like, you remember me about 5 hours ago when I was in Michigan? And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. And I said, I just don't understand why I checked in online. Everything was good. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to take care of you. I'm so sorry. We've got a special room we'll put you in. Now, to give you an idea, it was Michael and I. And if you don't know, Michael is married to a woman, and I am married to a woman. And so when I opened the door of this room, I must tell you that it was one bed and a hot tub. And so I slowly backed out of the room and thought to myself, I went down, I said, listen, I really appreciate it. I said, I know you're trying to be so nice to me. I said, but can I have the other room back? And she said, well, what's going on? I said, well, I'm coming here with another guy. And she said, oh, yeah, it's okay. I said, we're both married to women. Oh, she said, I'm so sorry.
We don't need the romantic package,
No roses or champagne. So, but we did take some pictures and we shared with our friends and family. And so everybody got a good laugh. But going back to the point when we both ended up in the same hotel room, you're like, hey, look what I got. And you had showed me, and you had some Milwaukee pack out. And if you don't know out there what Milwaukee pack out is, go to your local Home Depot and be careful, because I want you to keep your credit card in the car.
Yes. Don't take your credit card in.
Don't take your credit card, because this is like adult Legos. And
it's for anybody who doesn't know, just a quick rundown. It's a modular tool box system. And you got different size boxes, and they click on to each other. And
you could do it. You could make it any custom, however you want. We both the bottom box, the bigger chest, if you will, has wheels on it, so that made more logical sense. And then my outfit was just a little bit different than Michael's, but we both were in the same hotel room without telling each other, and there we had Milwaukee pack outs. We both had these big toolboxes. And we were kind of worried at first, because the charter, we had reached out to the charter, and we were like, is this okay? And they were like, yeah, no problem. We don't have a limit. That's part of having a charter. We're like, okay. And day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the guy smiled every time, and we helped him. Day 7, he's like, I'm not going to be sad to see you guys go home tomorrow. So, but you know what? Honestly, they were waterproof, and they rolled everywhere real easy. And organization was wonderful. So, anyways, going back to the point, it was just very humorous when you and I ended up in the same hotel room with these Milwaukee pack outs, and so
I have to say,
yeah,
I went there. I was so excited to get there, because I had used a tool chest, like a Craftsman, was not built very well in 2016 and again in 2018. And I found these, and I thought it was awesome. I was going to be like, yeah, this is such a cool idea. And I had it all hooked up, and I'm walking over to the door, and it's like, yeah, look what I got. And you're like, oh, you mean like those over there? And I was like, no. So I was pretty excited, but I think that's interesting because it shows that we were both thinking along the exact same lines because we didn't tell each other. We didn't mention it to each other that that's what we were doing.
As a matter of fact, when I was unloading my car, so and at that hotel room, we I think it was a Holiday Inn, and when I was unloading, rolling through the lobby, I thought these guys are going to think I'm like maintenance or something. and then when you showed up, I was like, well, he's going to think I'm nuts by having toolboxes. And then when you had them, I'm like, oh boy. And so, if anyone has ever been to Home Depot and you're kind of looking at toolboxes, they're just wonderful plastic organizers that are very hard resin and durable and waterproof and have O-rings.
Yeah, they're waterproof, dustproof. I mean, they're made for the construction site.
Yeah.
So when these guys load up the thing with them, you can throw them and it's not going to hurt anything. And the other good thing is the bottom one has wheels, so you can just like stack them up and roll them. And I know a lot of groups that we've been with is like, no, we don't want to have the plastic tubs and the plastic. We've never had any trouble because I think mostly what they're looking at, and we've seen it, is people take like just the plastic bins you get at Walmart for like $8 and they'll duct tape them shut. And they don't want those because you put a little weight, they start crushing. But these are heavy duty. Check them out. What we'll have to do is we'll have to find a picture of our first setup because we're out in the parking lot and you had yours and I had mine sitting right there together on that first ride. And we've used them, dozen times or whatever since then on different rides.
I used them as a drying rack after we washed our jerseys at that school and we needed something to dry. So the handle came up and that worked out.
You make a great footstool too.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when you're sitting back with your camp chair and everything. So, and to give you an idea, they click lock together. So think of like eight feet on the top of it, eight little pucks that slip into like a female slot, and they click together with a spring, and then they won't release. So it becomes one unit. And so that's what we use if we're not flying, and we can actually have our vehicles and that way, have all of our gear. And as you can imagine, we take some electronic equipment with us. So
the other thing is they have one that's got a foam insert in there. And if you're, crafty enough, you can cut that foam insert to fit anything. And we do, in fact, have a couple that are cut out for particular leisure items.
Absolutely. So that's the physical packing, whether it's either flying or non-flying, I think, for us. And then, each of us has different ways that you and I do things when we get places. An example would be, before I leave the house, I like to use Ziploc bags. And in the Ziploc bag, I say, okay, well, if it's a week-long ride and there's, hypothetically, 7 days of riding, if you will, I say, okay, well, I'm going to need 7 jerseys and 7 bottoms and 7, either overalls or socks or whatever you need to ride for 7 days. Hypothetically, if you weren't able to do laundry. Now, sometimes we do get the break in between, which is nice that Bragg does. We've been able to go to laundromats. And so that's, I take everything I need in the Ziploc bag. And then usually after the ride guide comes out, we have an idea of what we're going to do. And then you and I have our plans so we can promote the show and promote the podcast. And so, and then of course with Big Bragg, with the team that we're going to have, there's a day that we need to consider that, team jerseys, which may also be in the ride guide. But, and so all of those things come into play when you talk about cycling kits. And then afterwards, what are you going to put on afterwards? And the mistake that I made, as you mentioned, as we streamlined through the years, is I will fully admit to you that the first time we went to Bradbury, I laid out 7 pairs of shorts. I laid out 7 T-shirts. I laid out 7 pairs of boxers and 7 pairs of socks.
Rookies.
And you know what? I never touched the socks because by the time I got back, I took my my Crocs or what are the ones that you wear?
Hey dudes.
Hey dude.
Like a slip-on type shoe.
Yeah. It reminds me of the movie Yesterday, if you ever saw that, where he says,
he changes changes the lyrics.
He's like, hey dude, really? He's like, yeah, that was an Ed Sheeran thing, so anyways, so if you haven't seen the movie Yesterday, I highly recommend it. But
that's a good point about shoes, because you're right, a lot of times you bring socks, but my whole thing is a lot of times I'll see people take sandals and they'll take tennis shoes. I will just take a pair of shower shoes. I will take my cycling shoes. Maybe.
I hope so.
Oh, who needs them anyway? We've proven that. And I will take one pair of shoes to wear when I'm not riding. And generally, like you said, I can't get into the rubber, Crocs, but I'll do like the slip-on Hey Dude type shoes. You don't need socks with those. Mm-hmm. The other thing is they dry out quickly if they get wet. So I think you got to really look at your footwear and say, do I need, because I know some people will take a pair of sandals and they'll take a pair of tennis shoes, and it's just like, that's just adding weight and adding bulk. So something to keep in mind.
And honestly, the first year of Ragbri, I think I maybe touched 3 pairs of shorts, because by the time they were sitting on top, and really I only wore them for a few hours before going to bed anyway. And so, those are the things that you learn throughout the years. And so now I probably fly down in a pair of shorts, and then probably have, normally you and I have an outfit for flying home, so we don't look like degenerates flying home. So
TSA has warned us about that. So,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, last year in
Georgia,
where were we last year? Augusta. You and I and TSA, I thought there was going to be a bigger to do, because they were not being the most polite to us. That's the nicest way I could say that.
Yeah, they were not.
It was 5 a.m. Our driver was a no-show. We didn't make the flight, and then they started tearing our bikes apart. And it wasn't like normal TSA where your bike goes bye-bye. This was a room where we could see everybody and watch our bikes being taken apart.
Like taking the lids off and all the foam out, and I'm just like, they're never going to get that back. And I could just see them crushing forks and things. It's like,
oh gosh, but memories.
Yeah, but we got through.
Yeah, we did.
One thing I will say, you use the Ziploc bags. One thing that I found works really well for me, I use the smaller vacuum pack bags.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And you just roll them tight, and you get rid of all of that air that's in them, so you can get them really small. Like I do here's my Monday, kit, here's my Tuesday, which really, it makes it easy. And honestly, some days you're hot, sweaty, you want to just go take a shower, or, it's just like you grab
what I think a lot of people forget is something as simple as a baseball cap. Even if you don't, even if you're a person who doesn't wear a baseball hat at home, like if you're just like, I'm not wearing a baseball hat, you don't know where you're going to be. You might have to walk to town. You might have to sit at camp. It might be outside. You might be in line for food. You might be somewhere just to get that additional sun off of your face. I usually am known to throw, I am a guy who likes baseball hats, but I've been known to throw a couple. I have that one I got a couple of years back, the Under Armour one. I only use it for cycling. It's like a runner's hat. It can get wet, and it just beads moisture right off of it. And if it does get wet, it dries very fast. And so then I usually have, of course, with my Georgia friends that I'm about to see, I for sure, as they called me Michigan many years, and I had to eat crow pie, as Michigan did not be successful and the Dogs were more successful. I'm coming back with a Michigan hat. I'm just telling you,
you
right
now. You just never learn, do you?
I got every right to wear it this year.
Oh, you do? Well, but see, new year, new coach, everything.
but I'm still riding the high of the national championship.
Okay,
so,
well, you do what you need to do. Good luck with that.
I appreciate that.
Anyway, getting back to the packing, you're right. Yeah. Hats are important. The other thing I look at is clothes that is going to dry quickly. I look for like some type of poly blended stuff, nylon, polyester blended type stuff. I try to stay away from the cottons and everything. From like the shirt I'm wearing right now is actually, a blended shirt.
It's like a tech shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that I can, any of the clothes that I take, even like the shorts, I try to get stuff that's going to dry quickly because you never know. And the last thing you want to do is put it in your thing wet, even in bags, which leads me to towels.
Yeah.
Everybody, a lot of people will grab towels. I have a big, quick dry microfiber towel. Not my favorite, but you know what? It'll absorb water. And within 2 hours of being back at camp, even if it's just warm and not heavy sunshine, that can be dry. Because let me tell you, I hate when you have to put that damp towel in your bag, and then the next day when it's 90 degrees out, you unzip that and you just, you could grow mushrooms in there. It's just hot and humid and your towel is gross. So that's another big thing that I always remember, to look for stuff that's going to dry out quickly, because you never know when you're going to be out and about and it start raining on you and you got to pack up the next morning and leave.
Some things that I think that people I've heard throughout the years and is each of us have probably socks or underwear that, it's time to go. We just haven't let them go. This is a perfect opportunity to do that, where you can, you might be able to make your bag a little bit lighter throughout the week by having, like, oh, I'll wear those on Monday and then they're not coming home with me, find a garbage can somewhere or whatever. So Lauren and I have done that. We've gone on cruises where we've done excursions with like older jeans that they say, oh, we recommend you have jeans on. And then we're like, why don't we find like an old pair of jeans that either needed to go a long time ago, or we've even gone to the Salvation Army and bought like $2 pair of jeans, and then they just don't come home with us. So, but
that's what I did when last time I went to Europe. Actually, I went to England. I went to the Salvation Army thrift store, whatever, bought all my clothes there. And then with the concept that I wasn't bringing any of them back.
Yeah.
And then what I did is,
brought all
not my underwear and stuff. I just tossed that, but I'd like take the shirts and the jeans and stuff. And I just gave them, if I was staying at a bed and breakfast or something after a couple of days and it's like, okay, I'm done with those. I'd just like put them in a bag and say, here's some clothes. Can you donate them? Throw them away. Do whatever you want to. I didn't need them, and I had that much less things. So that's a good idea. I've never thought about doing it on a bike ride though.
Hey, Michael, I need a coffee.
Okay, we'll be back right after this message.
I always like, no matter if I'm flying or what, or we're not flying, if we're getting a drive, I grew up in a family called a ditty bag or a toiletry bag. Mm-hmm. And this bag doesn't have just toiletry items. I put all of like my Aleve, and anything that you can think of, those small items. I usually save like I used to say, and you'll appreciate this, old film canisters.
Yes.
Yeah. Although they probably had chemicals in there, so probably not good for you, but
that's not important.
No, don't worry about that. Or old medicine bottles or something like that. And then I'll, put all those little items that you might need. And something that people never think of is like fingernail clippers, because a small thing. So I have a collection of items, and it's kind of funny because people say, "Oh, I wish I had this," and I'm like, well, "Hold on one second, let me help you."
That's because you're an old scout. Be prepared.
That's right. As long as I'm not too prepared, then they'll, Mr. Baranski, your baggage is overweight, so. We don't want that. So,
and that's you brought up, like first aid medicines and stuff like that. That's the other thing. Don't forget to pack any prescription medication you have, especially if you're flying. Make sure it's in a bottle that's got your name on it. So if you do wind up there in the back room of the TSA and they're going, they pulled you off the line and they're going completely through your stuff. They're not
you can't say bomb.
What's this bag of pills here? That just keeps you from having to answer and deal with a lot of questions and prove a lot of things. So. Good stuff.
When we talk about cycling gear, if we're flying, I know something that you and I do is like, you can't just bring the bike. You have to put all the tools to put it back together. It's not like you can just go down to AutoZone and pick up like a 10 mil, socket to put your bike back together. So
Right.
you need the bike tools. And when you start talking about weight, you and I both fly Delta Airlines. And so Delta, depending on the kind of flying, you can either get 50-pound bags or 70-pound bags. And so what I try to do is inside of that bike box, I put everything I need, because if the bike's not there, I don't really need the tools.
It's a good point.
I got bigger fish to fry. So, and then, bike shoes, but normally when you talk about electronics, that's what I have in my backpack. So if I have like my bike computer, you and I like to use the radar, which I'm just going to say it right here. I usually don't push products, but I don't care if you go with a new Trek. I don't care if you go with Garmin. I don't care if you go with the generic. I can stand behind the Garmin. Highly recommend a bike radar. It's one of the best safety inventions for cycling that I can stand behind. If you never used one, it's a device that about 200 meters behind, if a car is behind you and it's approaching at a normal speed, you get just a regular, alert. If it's approaching fast speed, you get a faster speed. Anyways, this isn't a show on electronics, but I just wanted to say all those electronic items usually ride with me in my backpack. And they won't let you fly with some of that stuff in your backpack, like multi-tools, because they got too many blades and stuff and tools. So all those usually go in my bike box, and then I usually take bubble wrap and then tape the bubble wrap around the tools, and so then either use a bungee strap and attach it to the frame. So usually it's kind of a whole process, but then once we get where we're going, we have all the tools that we need. So we've been successful. But something that we found out very interesting, I think, that I'd like to just mention is CO2 cartridges.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
So, we've kind of, in full transparency, we've kind of seen it both ways. If you go on, if anyone doesn't know, TSA has a wonderful app. It's really well done. And it's, if you're questioning, hey, can I fly with a hairdryer? You go on to the TSA app and you type in the word hairdryer, and it'll either say you can have it in your carry-on, you can have it checked in, or you can't have it at all. And so it kind of gives you that flow. And CO2 cartridges is one of those things where not only are you not supposed to have it in your carry-on, you're not supposed to have it in your check bags either.
Nope.
Now, I'm going to be 100% transparent. By a full accident, because we gave away like 10 CO2 cartridges, but then we had those Rock Bros bags we bought off of Amazon, and in there I had my tubes and 2 CO2s, and then my tire tools and my multi-tool. And so that's what I keep in mind. So if you ever look at me and you see this black bag on my frame, that's what I do. That's my normal 2 tubes, 2 CO2s. Hopefully gets me through the day.
And he'll fix your tire if you're alongside the road. So yeah.
That was Michael.
Yeah, I did.
So anyway, So anyways, I had, that's how I normally roll. And then if I need to refill something, great. And usually some couple of bucks here and there in case someone doesn't take a credit card. But the point of that is I flew home and opened the bag. Actually, I didn't even realize that I put the bag back together, and I had an event a week after I landed from our last trip. And I looked down, I kind of looked up, and I looked down, and I thought,
oh,
huh. I opened up that bag, and sure enough, those 2 CO2. So I guess my point is you're not supposed to fly with them. And our normal thing is since we normally have a hotel room before we board the bus, we usually ship the CO2 cartridges to the hotel room. And Amazon, let you drop ship anywhere. So that's what we normally do. And then afterwards, if we don't need them, whoever gives us a ride to the airport gets a gift.
That's right. CO2 cartridges.
So,
well, that's interesting because I think I've had 1 or 2 slip through on accident. But the last one I had actually grabbed I have 2 Rock Bros, Brother things. And I grabbed one of them and I just shoved one in the back in my carry-on bag. And she busted. I didn't even realize it was in there, but there was a cartridge in there. And she's like, I found this in here. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you can't take it. And I was like, fully understand.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do whatever you do with it. I just forgot it. But she kind of got, she kind of got kind of stern with me. Like she thought I was going to argue with her about it. And it's like, no, I slipped in there. Didn't realize it was in there. No problem. So.
Yeah. The last time they're not that expensive. Don't get me wrong, but still they're getting a little more expensive. And so the last time we did something kind of cool when we were in Brunswick, we put a bag together and I put it behind the hotel room under a bush and we put a post on the Facebook page. And later on, the guy said, "Hey, thanks a lot. Got your cartridges." So, I mean, and then of course, I that's the cycling and anything you can think of, extra spare tubes and depending on what kind of rims you have. Like for me, I have 60 millimeter carbon wheels. I have to think about that. I have to think about having the longer stem, Presta tubes that go in there. And so I have some extra stuff. In years past, you're absolutely right. I've taken way too much. I mean, that license plate behind you really fits my bag style because I used to have so much stuff. Sherpa. And so I think it was you that had mentioned before that when you get back, unpack your bags and then say, did I touch this? Did I touch this? Did I touch this? And the answer was, if you didn't touch it, then you just need to really think about on your next trip, do I really need to take it? Some things you still have to. I mean, you got to be realistic. If it's a special light like our derailleur hangers that we fly with, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit extra weight. And, I mean, not that much, but it's just extra stuff to be able to have that you just cannot pick up. I mean, you're not going to be able to just go to the local store and go into Walmart and say, "Hey, you guys got this?" And no, we don't. What's it for? Does that open a fishing hook? So
sure does.
One of the things I don't think we mentioned, but I think is very important is a sunscreen. People don't realize when they do these kinds of things that, and neither did this guy talking right now and the voice that you're hearing. I got I'll just be nice. I got burnt really bad in 2016 because while I had all kinds of sun protection on, you sweat off sunscreen so fast. But the reflection of the sun beating off the cement is really, I hadn't counted on that and didn't think about that. Didn't think about that I was going to get fried. And that's why if you see me today, I rock a DeBrim. So, and if you don't know what that is, debrim.com.
Look at him.
I'm not sponsored because I've tried to get sponsored by DeBrim, but they won't have me. So
come on, this is the spokesman because the guy wears it all the time.
I know.
Two other things I want to bring up.
Yes, please.
To not belabor the packing thing, but we felt it was important to, we get a lot of questions about it, kind of give our perspective on it. One thing, always use a packing list. I always use one. And I know a couple of weeks before I pull it out and I'll write some things down. It's like maybe for the particular ride, I'll need this or, for the Georgia ride last year, I took some special bourbon and things of that nature, but I always have a packing list that I use. And that is what I use when I get home to kind of go through, did I use this? Do I need all this? One thing I would suggest doing is we used to do this in Boy Scouts. Pack all of your stuff up, all the gear that you're going to take, clothes, camping gear, everything in 1-2 bags, whatever you're going to do. And then I would say, take those bags, whether they're wheel or you carry them or you're putting them on your shoulder or whatever, go out in your backyard and walk around your backyard 3 or 4 times, just carrying them.
Think about that story I said about the airport. Not only do I think that you are 100% spot on, your neighbors are going to think you're completely nuts. They might even call the local Department of Human Services on you. Big
already
deal.
Done it. It's okay.
Right. You're already on the red list, so it's okay. Walk. go up the street if you live in a subdivision. Go up the street with your bike box. Don't put the bike in there, but just even the bike box by itself. And if you're going to fly, and then your bag that you think you're going to go walk 100 yards with that thing, because let's be honest, you're going to do that in an airport. See if you can do that, and do it with the bag's empty first, and then I don't know, take a bag of dog food and throw it in your bag real quick, or if you're a charcoal guy.
Well, I'm saying put everything in there that you would take, because here's the difference. You could do that, but if you have everything in there that you're going to do,
you might
and you go around, you walk it, and you go, man, this thing is just way too heavy. I can't carry this very far. This is going to be cumbersome. Right. That gives you the opportunity to go, do I really need everything in this bag?
Right.
So you could do it with the dog food or the charcoal, or, sand or whatever you wanted to do. But when you go to want to reduce your weight, you don't really know how much weight is in there. Now, if you want to just know how cumbersome it's going to be dragging that bike box, I think that would be a perfect thing. Throw some weight in there. It doesn't matter, because they roll, but they don't quite roll as easy as you might think, because they're kind of oblong.
The wheels are about
that big. And even though you're on a smooth, my airport's brand new. The surface is super smooth, but you're navigating around people and kids and other people with things, and you got to be able to maneuver it. And so I would suggest doing that as well.
Yeah, and I know it's a podcast, and we said the word that big, and I felt bad because we know it's YouTube. We can see each other, but take your finger and your thumb and make like a C. That's about how big the wheel is on that box. So
it's not made to go over gravel. It's not made to go over rough asphalt. It's made to go over like concrete, marble, tile, that kind of stuff.
Epoxy airport floors.
Yes. Yes. New epoxy airport floor.
Exactly. But again, your airport doesn't have a Starbucks, so I don't know.
I've got really no problem with that, other than hurts the stock price maybe a little, but.
Yeah. All right. We're going to move on. But so the last item I think is really important is, if you've ever watched Survivor on CBS, if you've ever watched Big Brother or any of these things where you get your luxury items, we call these items leisure items.
Leisure items.
Wonder why we call that.
I don't know.
So we've normally been known to bring some libations of some sort.
Yes, we have.
And we've not been shy that after a long day of riding and getting all the camp work done and whatever, we like to sit out and enjoy a cigar. So, and then, but anything you can think of would be a leisure item. And maybe for you, it could be like a ukulele. Maybe it could be, and I'm not trying to be funny, I'm being serious, like something that is, maybe a journal. Maybe you're a guy who likes to
crossword puzzles.
Oh yeah, Sudoku or something.
Yeah.
So you got to think about what is it, leisure items, and then, and also, I recommend some sort of snack, whatever the snack you like, something that is not biodegradable. Perishable, non-perishable, and biodegradable. Sorry.
I really don't want the snack that's not biodegradable, but
if it glows when you open it, don't touch it. I should have said non-perishable, but
got it.
You just don't know, if you could come into camp, and maybe the food truck isn't fired up yet, or maybe there's not something where you can grab something. Don't get me wrong. On many rides that we do, the sag stops are beautiful, but you might just need something. So I recommend maybe a box of granola bars or something just to have in your bag, just as an emergency backup. So,
one more thing I'm gonna suggest.
Yeah.
Your wallet for guys. I know a lot of people who just grab their wallet. In fact, I've had family members who just grab their wallet that they use every day and they take it with them on the ride.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But generally, you got some old receipts in there. You've got your sales credit card for your wife's anniversary. You got your Sam's Club card. You got all this stuff. My point is, I have a special wallet that I just use on rides. And I take, 2 credit cards out. I take my ID. I take my insurance card and my, my little insurance credit card thing. And and then I put some cash in there. And I do
no,
that.
You don't. No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You say you do, then you.
I put it in the wallet. The problem with it is that most of the time I don't bring my wallet on the ride because I've got you. So
this is true. Now there was one time where you said, "Hey, can you spot me today?" And I reached in my back pocket and thought, oh, I was going to spot off for you today. And then I was like, yeah, I got some money. So, but
my point is I only take the bare essentials in a single wallet because number one, I don't need my Zales credit card or the Sam's Club card or any of this other stuff. And so if something was to happen, it would get lost. I'm only replacing 2 credit cards in my ID and I'm out whatever money's in there. Which wouldn't be my money, it'd be yours. So it doesn't matter. So, I mean, that's something to think about as well.
That's a good point.
Leave some of that stuff. And then I take one credit card and I bury it in like one of my luggage bags somewhere. And I put the other one with me. So if I was to lose my wallet out there, I have backup.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. And in years past, what I've done is as you know, we do transportation and there's lots of $1 bills that go through. And so I usually go to my staff and say, hey, here's $50. Can I have $51 bills? And I've been known to put packages of $1 bills together. Like denominations.
Is this what you tell your wife? Come on. Nobody's believing this.
I really do. Because when we're at I didn't know if people were going to take credit cards or not.
And so you just have all these $1 bills you have to go get from your staff for the purpose of a ride. Okay. We'll go with that.
Hey, listen.
Lauren, I'll give you a call later. We're going to talk because.
Oh, yeah. Cycling Men of Leisure needs a table dance. I'm seriously, I do. I put packs of money together so then I can just grab one in the morning. And then usually the manila envelope that they're in is usually sweaty, and so that deteriorates throughout the day. But it's kind of what I've done in some areas. And traditionally now, most people are taking credit cards. I mean, our Italian Ice, beautiful lady, even said, "Can't wait to see you guys soon." And I'm like, I like her because she takes credit cards.
Oh yes, and we will be stopping by on many occasions. Yes. To have some Italian.
I might have to go with the smaller size than I normally used to go with.
And that's fine. That's fine. We can, it's about moderation. But
that's right.
She has some great Italian ice.
So that is what I usually pack for. And then I know that you and I both on these rides a few times have had some sort of work event that we had no choice that we had to attend. So I try not to bring a laptop. I have been known to bring a computer before. And most times on rides that you do, the event will have something where you can say, hey, if you have a computer, bring it through. I know Bragg does that. Our charter for Ragbri offered that. And many times we've been in these places, we've seen guys on laptops doing things. So I try, one of the things about going on the ride, I try not to do it, but sometimes you have no choice. So, but that's for me, that is usually packing. And we're 3 weeks away from taking a big trip. So starting to gather things together, and that's how I do it. Just to be truthful with anyone is I start to pick a location in my home and I start congregating items there. I don't necessarily pack it all away just yet, but I start bringing everything together, and then that way,
as you see it or think about it, you take it and add it.
And then if sometimes I walk into the room, I already did that, which is fine because then you're not going to forget it. But especially the items, especially like, I know we tease you about your shoes. We told that story 500 times, but shoes are definitely something you would definitely need for cycling if you do use a certain kind of pedal. So. But yeah, anyways, that's for me, that is my packing. Let me check my notes here.
But that's just kind of how we do it. I know everybody does it a little different. Everybody uses different things, but that's how we've used it. That's what works for us. So, maybe some people would listen to what we have to say and go, no, that's completely wrong, but it works for us. What'd you forget?
No, I was just going to say we wanted to make sure we have the notes for, you don't need 7 pairs of shorts. You could maybe get away with 3 or 4 or whatever.
I only take enough. I make sure I can wash on Wednesdays. It's just my thing. I've done it for years. I wash clothes halfway through, and I've never had a problem getting that done.
We didn't talk about, and if we did, I don't remember, rolling your clothes or maybe use those packing cubes. Yeah,
you can use packing cubes. You and I both use kind of the vacuum pack or the Ziploc. You do roll it. I mean, a lot of the military guys know about that. You roll it to kind of forces some of the air out. It takes up less space. I know in like my vacuum bags, I mean, it just sucks it completely down. So there's no air in it whatsoever. But rolling is the best way to go.
And a part of this is going to be a joke, and a part of it's going to be serious. Is dryer sheets. So.
Oh yeah. Well, everyone's got their thing.
Yeah. We're gonna leave this. All I'm gonna say is that dryer sheets can be helpful for a few things. On a serious note, anti-static
for the dryer.
Well, they could be used for the dryer as well as a conditioner or whatever. But it helps with packing. Don't get me wrong. If you've got stinky jerseys and you can throw some dryer sheets in there until you get home, it could help do that. All right. The joke is we were with some people before, and they said, I don't wash things. I just put my jersey in a dryer sheet in a bag and put it on the next morning. And we're like, okay then. But
each their own.
But I do think that dryer sheets can be somewhat helpful to make sure that TSA doesn't think that you are the grossest person in the world when you're flying
That'll
back.
teach them to get into my luggage, won't it?
I ever tell you that Jamaica story? I went to Montego Bay, Jamaica, and I flew in, and Sangster Airport is where we were. And so I landed, and long week at Jamaica, go back to Adam 1.0, and I was sweating all week long. All my clothes were in the bag. And the lady going on the plane says, I want to go through your stuff. And this poor woman had like one glove. The other one had like holes in the other glove. And she's going through my stuff. And I thought, oh my gosh, this poor woman is not getting paid enough. And so I that's why I was like, yeah, sorry about that. I've been sweating in Jamaica for a week. So anyways, that's about it for me for packing. Did you have anything else? Or
no, I think we've kind of hit the highlights, do everything you can to reduce your toiletries down, use small travel size, that type of thing. Quite honestly, you don't need the full thing of shaving cream. You don't need the full bottle of conditioner, that kind of, just think about those kind of things that you're really not going to need. Think of the clothes. Are you going to need them? Do you need, just question everything you put in that bag. Question it. Is this something I'm going to need? Is it,
That's a good point. I mean, you need a full tube of Crest. I don't think so. You can go get the travel size, and even if you're afraid, you can get 2 travel size. It's still better. The
thing about it is, anything that you forget, we are by, I don't know how many different Walmarts. Every little town we go through has a Dollar General. We're by a CVS. We're by Walgreens. I mean, we're constantly by these places that if there is really something that you forgot that you need, it's easy to stop in I mean, we've done it. We've hit a Dollar General to pick up whatever just before we've gotten into our campsite because like, oh, I forgot that. Let me just stop in here and grab it. So realistically, anything that's like an absolute necessity short of like prescription medication or something like that, you could stop in and pick up a small amount of at a store like that.
I was in Michigan once and picked up a bottle of Woodford on a bicycle.
I have pictures of that. True story. And you put it in your biking overalls.
Yeah.
And you rode the last, I don't know, 7-8 miles with a bottle of Woodford's. And
Right.
let me tell you, I appreciate your sacrifice, sir.
Yes, sir. Happy to help. Well, I had something else, but we're going to have to save it for the next show. We're going a little bit long here, but I always like to do this. I love that we're doing this. And so without further ado, can we please have the hints for the next Listener Spotlight?
We absolutely can. All right. This episode's Listener Spotlight hints are as follows.
St. Louis.
I couldn't help myself. Okay, go ahead.
The first white settlers in the area got there around 1797.
Okay.
And it was founded by a frontiersman back in 1797. It was originally named for the color of the land beside the river that this town sits on. So it sits on a river. They originally named it for the color of the land that was right there by the river.
Okay.
The current name was established in 1817, and it was named for I'll just tell you this. It was named for a colonel. I'm not going to tell you what war, but it was named for a colonel. It has had a long history, started out as agriculture, but it's had a long history of manufacturing. That history includes steameries, which, if you don't know, it's for tobacco. It's kind of where they take the tobacco leaves, the building where they take them and they strip them off and they prep them to turn them into tobacco products. It was the home of one of the largest wagon companies in the world, meaning they created wagons. And you will like this one. It's been home to a couple of distilleries.
I'm listening.
So they've had a wide range of different types of manufacturing there. If you're into bluegrass music, you might, I'm going to say you want to go visit that place, this town, this community. Bluegrass music. I don't know how big you are into bluegrass, but
go ahead. I went to my first bluegrass concert ever was in a town called Paducah, Kentucky.
Paducah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The final hint I will give you is this town, in some way, shape, or form, is responsible for how we view pirates today.
Wow. Well, I like the hint. I don't know what it is, but I don't care. I like
1797, founded by a frontiersman, originally named for the color of the land next to the river that it sits on. So it's a river town. It's had a lot of different types of manufacturing, tobacco, distilleries, wagon making. Bluegrass is important, and it's named after a colonel. And it's responsible in some way for how we view pirates today.
Don't answer.
It's not St. Louis.
Louisville, Kentucky. But don't answer. That's just my speculative, off-the-cuff answer.
Wow, something other than St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I know the whole world doesn't revolve around St. Louis, Missouri.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean,
well, you are getting Kentucky and you are getting distilleries, so things are looking up for you.
That's my guess now.
Okay.
I've got a few weeks to finite and polish that guess up, but we'll do that. So, well, great. That's been another episode of our Listener Spotlight. I need to take this opportunity to make sure that people realize that we do have a mailbag. We're going to skip it this time, but don't worry that we've got some people that we can mention next time. If there's something that you would like to know, something that you're curious about, something you would like us to talk about, or something that you feel that we said incorrectly, I'm sure that that's possible. We've had to eat crow pie before. which is fine. It's part of learning and part of.
We're not experts.
No. We have
had years experience in cycling in other areas, but we are not experts. So,
funny story. I was working with my HR today, and an employee asked me through a text message or something that whether they should or shouldn't do medical advice. And so I reached out to HR. I'm like, I'm not giving them medical advice. And she's like, no, please don't. I'm like, the last time I gave someone medical advice, my wife ended up in the hospital for 11 days. She said, your track record is not that good. I said, no, it's horrible.
But then again, you're not a doctor or any other kind of medical professional. So
I don't even play one on TV.
They get what they pay for, honestly.
That's right. So anyways, I appreciate our time together. I'm looking forward to seeing you in 3D format soon.
Getting close.
Without further ado, I will say that with my new 2.0, the other day was a great day for a bike ride. I was actually able to
absolutely
get some RPMs and get some hill climbing much better and back to feeling much better. So we're going to keep it up. So
absolutely,
with that, I'll say,
don't stop.
No. Pretty soon it'll be 7 great days to have a great day for a bike ride. So
I hear you, man. Been great. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming along with Adam and Michael on Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe to the show on the podcast app of your choice.
Hey, we just wanted to remind you that we've got some really cool products at our Jersey and our swag store.
That's right. You can visit cyclingmenofleisure.com. At the top of the page, you'll find our stores page. Click there. There's 2 QR codes. The one on the left has a J on it. That's the store for the jerseys. The one on the right is just a swag store. Has all kinds of different items. Kind of customizable. You can kind of make the swag the way you want it. If the QR codes are giving you an issue, don't worry. Underneath, there's 2 buttons that you can click on. Thank you, and have a great day.